Live stream back yet again. What another wonderful Wednesday. And as you might have noticed, we have a special guest in the place to be right now. And it's my man right here, a wonderful and talented wrestler from the world of professional wrestling, independent pro wrestling, Mr., or should I say, King, Tristan Law. Tristan, how you doing?
Dave, how the hell did I end up in your show?
How did you? Such mysteries.
I said I would never end up on your show, and I'm here. I mean, it looks a lot like my house, so I mean, it's not that foreign, but I'm here. Hey, YouTube, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, it's desperate times. Everything is getting weird right now, so I guess it just makes sense that you're, second guessing yourself, changing. Life changes, things happen, and now here you are on my show. How's it going, man?
Everything's going good. How's everything going with you? Are you cough free at this time?
Am I what?
Cough free.
Oh, yeah, sure, yes. Currently, right this second, good. I'm not coughing. I right this second. Anyway, so for those of you...
I'm cough free as well, too. Healthy.
What's that?
I said, well, I'm healthy as well, too. I'm glad that you're healthy as well, too. I guess I'm glad to be here.
Good. Glad to have you here. So, for those of you who might not be familiar with King Tristan or Tristan Law's work, Tristan, tell everybody about yourself.
I like long walks on the beach. I like chicken wings. Actually, no, I really like White Castle. I love White Castle. I like to do push-ups. I think my arms are my best feature. I also like pro wrestling. This is a pro wrestling YouTube, right?
No, this is amateur wrestling. We only talk about like Rulon Gold and stuff like that. What are you talking about?
Oh, damn it! I ended up on your wrong YouTube because I thought I was going to end up on the comics page. This is the Dave Knows Wrestling page. All right, so we'll talk about wrestling. Okay, so I'm also a professional wrestler. I've been wrestling since 2009. That's when I had my first match. And then I started. I took a break, and then I came back to professional wrestling, and I'm here. Nice. People know me as the King Tristan.
Very good. Let's take a quick shout out to everybody who's joining us in the room today. Degenerate, how you doing? Andy Ruiz, good to see you. Ben Espinoza, Dale, good to see you. Just Dale. I almost said your last name, but I remember it's just Dan. Dale. I don't know why. I like your last name. Cody, what is up? Cody Omega, good to see you. Been a while, buddy. Antonio Cage. Hey, Dave. Have a great show. WrestleMania was okay, but big show in main event. No, says Antonio Cage. Oh, not a fan of that, I see. Okay. And Inigo Montoya, my man, Inigo Montoya. This is so anyway, Tristan. So me and Tristan have actually known each other for a while, and as I pointed out, he's actually a worker himself. So if you guys have any interest in what it's like to actually talk to a worker, now would be the time, because he is definitely one of the best, I would say.
Now, when you say worker, Dave, does your audience know the inside term worker? Do they know what that means?
Did I say that?
Because we're all workers, if you ask me.
Well, I'm not currently, but whatever. Let me clarify. He is a wrestler himself. Sorry, I just slipped into the mode. That's one thing about pro wrestling. I will admit, when you're really steeped in something, you wind up using a lot of the terminologies all the time, and it's definitely wrestling is definitely one of them. I've mentioned this before in the live stream. I've worked at 3 different pool halls in my life. I use pool terminologies constantly. It's just one of those things. It's between cooking, pool, and wrestling, I say a lot of slang terms from those industries, and I don't even mean to. I don't even realize I'm doing it until I'm saying it.
All right, so Dave, I've never worked in a pool hall. I frequent pool halls a lot.
I did.
So hit me with your best.
Hit you with your best.
Pool hall.
Hit me
with your best pool hall lingo.
You say you hang out a lot. If you hang out a lot, you ought to know. How come you don't know these things?
Yeah, I know cue stick, cue ball. Oh, I know give me the chalk. You see, those are words that I know from being at the pool hall.
Are you working me? Because that's the thing. Are you playing ignorant? Because that's not how it works. Because that's the other thing that Well, we'll put it this way. One thing both wrestling and pool have in common is we both refer to people as marks. Not that I'm condoning any of this, but if you have somebody that you are trying to finagle, liberate them from their own money. If you're trying to get in their pocket, that's what you do. You set them as a mark. That's exactly where the term comes from. You're trying to grift these people. So pro wrestling, guess what? You like pro wrestling? your mark, it's because they want your money. That's the idea. And it's the same thing. I've done this episode before, but it's the same thing in pool. So that's something you have in both. There are marks in both. So how about that? You know more terminologies than you realize.
Well, look at that. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. Am I being worked? Same thing in the pool hall. Is it an angle? Are we being worked? Same thing. We're always trying to check it out. In the pool world, we also, instead of saying angle, well, we say move. Like, is that a move? Instead of, is that a work? Is that a move? That's another one. That's pretty similar.
See, so I can go into the pool hall right now. Well, actually, I can't because pool halls are closed.
Right.
But I can pretend that I'm going into a pool hall, and I could drop that line. I could say, hey, baby, is this an angle? Or is this a move, baby? No.
What woman do you think is impressed by pool terminologies? What female on earth do you think that'll work on?
Hey, you never know. Like, times have changed.
Yeah.
Because of coronavirus, Dave. I actually, I've been thinking of some new pickup lines. So I was like, maybe I can, like, give them to you later on, so maybe you can use one for yourself.
Hit me. Now I'm curious. Now okay. I'm curious. Bring it. Now I'm interested.
All right, Dave. So because of the whole coronavirus thing, the new pickup line that you have to use is, hey, baby, can I check your temperature?
All right, guys, what do you think? What do you think of Tristan's? Hey, what are you guys talking about? Face Up, I wish I knew. I wish I knew Face Up. Hey, Tim Castillo. See, Inigo Montoya. There's a dude that knows his pool. All right, Tristan, who trained you and who is... Oh, great question. Dale, just so you guys know, since I like giving you early tidbits from the live stream, I'm going to give it to you now. As you know, we have the brand new series, Dave Knows Wrestlers, first episode featuring Mike Law. Well, I intend to get to Tristan Law himself, not anytime soon, because it seems weird that I do two episodes, one about Mike Law and then one about Tristan Law. So he's not going to be in the next episode, but I do plan on getting to that, so we'll get in the background. But because you guys are so awesome here at the live stream, you're so supportive of the channel, we'll get into a little bit before the actual documentary itself. So, Tristan, who trained you?
Well, I got trained initially by the Dudley Boys in Orlando, Florida. And then after the Dudley Boys, I moved up to New York, and I was trained by Nunzio and Richie Rock. I still go to the wrestling school because I think it's good to knock the rust off and to keep yourself in shape because, I don't get paid to wrestle, every single day of the week like WWE guys. So, I got to keep myself in ring shape. So I go to a professional wrestling school that's close to my house a couple times a week. So that's what I do.
Excellent.
It was funny how I started professional wrestling. I wanted to go to another school that Devon Dudley was a part of, but that school closed. And coincidentally, I was reading on the dirt sheets because, I was a mark, or we're all marks. Because if you ask me, I think the biggest marks are all the wrestlers in the business because we were able to watch this thing on television and think, oh, well, let me go ahead and try it. So I was on the dirt sheets reading and Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley were opening up their own wrestling school, which coincidentally was 45 minutes away from my house. So I made the phone call, and a gentleman called me who I now think back in hindsight, that was Bubba Ray Dudley.
Hold on. Did you just say you had a gentleman caller?
Yes, I had a gentleman caller, yes.
Okay, just checking.
Why, is that weird?
No, not judging.
Okay, okay.
Continue.
So I had a gentleman caller who I realized it was Bubba Ray Dudley, and he called me to ask me some questions. I guess he was trying to sort out, the real from the fake at that point. And he sent me the email. I filled out all the stuff. And then Bubba Ray Dudley called me. And, I'm a mark at the time. I'm still a mark. Still a fan of wrestling. I know that Bubba Ray Dudley, his real name is Mark. Because I read that on the interwebs. So when he calls, he goes, hey, this is Bubba Ray Dudley. I'm looking for Tristan. And I went, hey, Mark. He goes, Bubba. No problem, sir. Your name is Bubba. So that was June of 2007. That was when I actually started wrestling school. And the Sunday preceding that, I saw my first WWE pay-per-view. It was Elimination Chamber in Jacksonville, Florida.
Nice. All right, good story, my man. Okay, so,
thanks.
Well, as I say,
both one day.
Yeah, so but once this whole thing is over, we're definitely intending to get back into the back into swinging things, and yeah, Dave knows wrestlers. Tristan Law definitely on deck as being one of them. So let's get back into another question, because I'm glad you brought this up. When it comes to professional wrestling and it comes to learning and training, yes, of course you have your main primary teachers, of course. But I think it's something that we don't often talk about is that you never really stop learning, do you?
Wrestling is one of those things, Dave, that they say that, once you think you know everything, it's time for you to go someplace else and do everything and do something else. And I think that is the terminology or the mantra that you can use in anything in life. You're like, you can't know everything. And besides, everybody hates a know-it-all. I don't hate nothing more than I know-it-all.
Easy. The people on the stream are the know-it-all nation. Easy with the term. Easy.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing here. That's your gimmick. I see it. That's my boy. So everybody not on this live stream,
right?
A lot of people, like to pretend like they know things. Like for me, when I put myself into a new situation or a situation that's familiar, I like to always pretend like I don't know anything, because you might learn something.
Oh, so that's a pool thing. You hang out at the pool world. That's all you're asking. Oh, I get it. You're working in
That's right. See, I learned that from the pool hall. That's right. That's why let me work my stick.
Yeah, which your gentleman call it, right. Okay, so Barrett, good to see you, by the way. Barrett, definitely interested if you've ever made any tours of Japan. He makes it sound like it's war, like you're a soldier, but yeah, I know what he means. You ever made it out to Japan?
Japan was one of the places that I always wanted to go to, but I never got the opportunity to wrestle in Japan. Where have I wrestled? I have wrestled everywhere on the East Coast of the well, let me not say everywhere, because there's a lot of places on the East Coast. But I primarily have wrestled on the East Coast. I've wrestled in Florida. I've wrestled in West Virginia. I've wrestled in Jersey. I've wrestled in Pennsylvania. I wrestled in New York. I wrestled in Rhode Island. I think that's all I can remember. I wrestled in Maine. I wrestled in Mexico, Maine. There's a Mexico and Maine.
That interesting.
Yeah, we were trying to find tacos when we got there, but their claim to fame is a paper factory.
Of course. That's the first thing I would guess, though. Yeah. Rod the Reflex, good to see you. Barry, good to see you. Gorilla Strong, thank you for being here. Rod the Reflex, good guy. Rod the Reflex, really cool dude. Yes, this is Tristan Law, King Tristan Law, and yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. At least that's the point of it. I wouldn't have you on if I didn't think it'd be interesting.
Well, and they could always follow me as well too at The Real Big Tris on Twitter and Instagram. TheRealBigTris. That's me. Sounds like I feel like a rap. That's like a rap thing.
Really? Because it sounded more like Mickey Mouse Club. I know you were going for the fabulous thing, but it actually comes across more like Mickey Mouse Club. M-I-C-K. That's how you sound to me. That's all I'm saying.
What does everybody in the know knows? Everybody in the know. Those are your fans. The know. What does everybody in the know think?
We'll find out. EJ,
they probably think that I don't sound like.
EJ, good to see you. All right, so here's something else. So when we're in the business and we're always learning, and we have a lot of different trainers teaching many different wrestlers, something else that I don't think it's brought up enough that I know a lot of wrestlers have told me is that you not only learn from like formal teachers and instructors, but you also learn from your opponents in the ring. In the ring, you learn something in like every match you have. How important to that to your craft do you think? Would you say learning from your opponents is? So,
Dave, that's a real good question. Was that one from you or one from one of your the people in the know?
That's from me.
Oh, damn! Look at the brains on Dave. All right. Well, I say by the time you get out of the ring with somebody, you should learn one or two things. You should learn that you never want to work that person again, or you should learn something from them. Damn, Dave, you almost spit your water out and ruin the stream. Swallow first. Let me know when I'm ready to go.
Go for it.
All right. So you should learn two things. You should learn whether you never want to work with that person again because like they're complete trash, or you should learn something from that person. So I've wrestled QT Marshall, who's actually wrestling at AEW. Him and I went to Team 3D Academy together in Florida. He was obviously more ahead than me in the school when we went back in 2007 because he had previous training. However, when I was working a show in New Jersey back in 2012, 2013, and maybe even 2011, but I got to work him in the ring, and I learned different things from him that I still use today. like you said in the beginning, they wrestlers, we're all workers, we're con men, so we steal things from people and try to get people to believe things. So like nothing in wrestling is brand new. They're only recycled and redigested ideas. So I worked Balls Mahoney. I loved wrestling Balls Mahoney. I learned something from Balls Mahoney. I wrestled Sam Houston. If you don't know who Sam Houston is, everyone, that's the brother of Jake the Sphinx, Robert. So here was the thing. When I came back to professional wrestling, I really didn't want to wrestle anyone that couldn't like go. Like, I didn't want to go out there and do like a 20-minute, I'm going to stand around and we're going to do, things like that. I want to go out there and I want to work. So I got called by the promoter, and the promoter goes, "Do you want to wrestle? I got a show coming up. You want to wrestle Sam Houston?" Let me tell you something. If anybody calls you and they ring your phone and they're offering you money, you should probably take it. So I took the offer, not knowing who or what Sam Houston was. Thought he was maybe an indie guy. And then when I was done, I said, "Hey, let me look at the calendar. I'll let you know." So I looked at it and I said, "Oh, Jake the Snake Roberts' brother?" And he goes, "Yes, that's Sam Houston." I said, "Sure, I'll do it." Because, again, you'd be a moron to turn down the payday. So I Googled him, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I saw his moves. I saw what he can do." So now the day the show comes, and I get to the show, let me tell you, he still looks like the way he looked in the 80s. And when we got into the ring, one of the things, Dave, is I'm not sure how much you know about the world of professional wrestling, like the innards of professional wrestling. But, it's predetermined. So we're going out there, and we're putting on a show for people. So, a lot of people think that we sit in the back and we talk about the whole entire match. Depending on the person's level of skill determines how much you talk about. So for me, I need to talk about at my level. I just need to know how we're going to end the match and maybe a few things in between. So I get dressed and I see Sam Houston come into the locker room. "Hey, Sam, my name's Tristan. We're working together tonight. How are you?" "Oh, doing good, kid. Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to working with you tonight. I heard good things about you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, you heard good things. I mean, cool, thanks. I appreciate it." So I said, "Hey, I'll let you get dressed and I'll come see you in a little bit." So he gets dressed, and maybe an hour later, I go sit next to him and I say, "Hey," Sam, what is it that you want to do tonight?" "Kid, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get out there." Oh, okay, cool. All right, cool, no problem. So I go over to him. We're getting ready to go out. Maybe like 10 minutes. We're like the next match. We're on deck, Dave. So I go to him and I say, so hey, Sam, what do you want to do?" "The finish is a DDT." Okay. So we just went out there and we actually just worked the match and we called it in the ring and we talked to each other. We felt it and we did everything in the ring. So the thing that I learned from Sam Houston was to have a little bit of confidence and go out there and just work.
Good. Yeah, and I actually like this. Sam Houston's a solid dude too. Like I think Jake Roberts' dad himself, like they're actually bigger than people really remember. They don't think about it as like big guys, but they actually are solidly built. That family.
Right.
But something else that I definitely like that we were talking about when you mentioned how what you learned from Sam Houston was how different people work, and while I've talked about this multiple times. There are different ways of doing things. Some guys in WWE do things one way. Some people do things another way. Would you say, in your own opinion, would you say that your style has changed throughout the years, or have you pretty much maintained your same composure?
I mean, that's a good question, Dave. I think that I work a lot smarter now that I'm older. I think I work a much different style at 30. How old am I? 34? 35? I think I'm 34. Yes, I'll be 35 this year. 34? Thank you. My assistant told me I was 34.
Oh,
so, yes. Hey, let me tell you, when you're rich, bro, you have an assistant. You know what I mean?
That's right. You were a king, right?
That's right. So, I wrestle a lot smarter at 34 than I do at 24. At 24, I want to do all, like, the crazy things. Like, I want to jump off the top rope, and I want people to jump on me, and different stuff like that. But one of the things I realized at 34 is that it's not about the moves, it's about the story. Tell the story, and everybody will care about the moves.
It's what I've been saying over and over again, and I know there are a lot of people out there on the internet who don't subscribe to that. But I've been pushing. I push that nonstop. I talk about the emotion. To me, the biggest thing is how it makes you feel. Can you get people to believe that? Oh, and real quick, side note. Well, I talk about Jake Roberts being a big dude and Sam Houston being a big dude. Not for nothing, Tristan is actually a pretty solidly built guy himself. For those of you who may not know. But going back into it, so I like that you brought up, as we've been talking about today, wrestling is all about being calm, man. Even though we know the gimmick, even though we still find a way, professional wrestling still finds a way to hook people in, still gets people marks. But what surprises me about that, oh, and do want to give a quick hello. Hello, Naheem, good to see you.
Hey, Naheem.
When it comes to the professional wrestling industry, one thing that amazes me is how much people don't get. They really don't get how much everything is work. And I'm not that guy who really thinks everything is a work, but at the same time, everything is a work. You know what I mean? And I realize I'm talking like weird babbling code right now, but it's like, I'll put it this way. I say it again and again. When we look at podcasts, when we listen to these radio shows, or we see something on Twitter, people just assume that's real, and everything else is a work. It's like, how do you know that ain't gonna work? It's like the Jim Cornette, Young Bucks feud. Oh, that's real. How do you know that? And I'm not saying it is, but I ain't saying it isn't. I don't know, and that's when wrestling is done at its best, is when you just don't know. When you don't know you're getting worked or not. Same thing with Dave Meltzer. Oh, Dave Meltzer says this is bad information. He's a liar. Or, oh, I love Dave Meltzer. Everything's good. Either way, what makes you think you ain't being worked? What makes you think that ain't part of it? What makes you think the whole gimmick, oh, Vince McMahon hates Dave Meltzer? How do you know that? It's like nobody knows nothing, and you think because it's out there on the internet, this is real. So when people talk about kayfabe not being around, I think kayfabe is very real, and you're looking at it every time you log on the internet. That's what I say, or log on. Nobody logs on anymore. Just going on the internet. Man, just dated myself on that. Right.
I agree. I think that everything is a work, and even when they try to tell you that it's a shoot, that is real deal, it's still a work. You could turn on the TV right now. If you want to see a work, you'll definitely find a work on the television. Like for me, I don't believe everything at face value. Like right now, if you go on YouTube, if you go on Twitter, or if you go on, which you could follow me at the Real Big Trist, or you can go on, right, or if you go on Facebook, somebody's posting some kind of story about, oh my God, we just found aliens in Texas. That's a work. Like you're being worked. They might even throw in a little bit of work with the shoot. And some people, try to work so much that they work themselves into a shoot. Like everything is a work.
Yeah.
Everything is a work. You can't convince me that everything is shoot.
And one of my favorite things, though, is this expression. It gets used a lot. Oh, and by the way, Rod, I think that's awesome the work you're doing in Chicago. So welcome to the business, brother. One of my favorite expressions is work yourself into a shoot. Or, and which kind of happens sometimes. Sometimes you believe the nonsense so much, even yourself. As you said, some of the guys in the industry are the biggest marks of all. Because here's an industry that convinced you that this stuff hurts a lot. People pretend it doesn't, but it really does hurt. Now come here and start doing it. But whoa, we're not going to pay you yet. You have to earn that by getting beat up a lot. Okay, like it's one of the. Of course, that's a work. But hey, yo, Harry Flynn, good to see you, man. So that's one of the things that I like pointing out, is that sometimes the emotionality, you get so caught up into it, it becomes really you. And even though you were working, you work yourself in the shoot. Happens all the time. Shoot your work and work the shoot. Yep, exactly. Robert Reed.
That's right.
You know. Either of you guys have amateur high school. I had amateur wrestling in high school. I did nothing to it. First of all, I wasn't on the team, but I can also say my high school team sucked too. So, like, it wouldn't have been good even if I was on there. But Tristan, good question for you. How are you with the amateur wrestling? Hey, Jason Oliver.
Well,
and JT.
Well, I went to school in New York City, and in my school we did not have the amateur wrestling. We wanted amateur wrestling. I remember in 9th grade, I went to Samuel Gompers High School in the South Bronx. And I remember, that was my first high school. I was a bad kid, but I'll save that story for when we do our gimmick. But we wanted amateur wrestling in our school, and me and a couple other people in the school that were professional wrestling fans, we got everybody in the school to sign a petition saying that they wanted a wrestling school, and guess what happened? There wasn't a wrestling school, because obviously I said I never went to, and there wasn't a wrestling team. We wanted a wrestling team, so.
Yeah, you might want to reverse the order of that for the big reveal if you're going to say the story that way.
Right.
Oh, Tristan, actually, I don't know this. Who is your favorite wrestler? Don't say Sasha Banks. That doesn't count.
So, My favorite wrestler of all time
And don't say
is
yourself.
Triple H.
Okay, what?
Triple H.
What?
I love Triple H. Triple H is the king of kings. He is the game.
I did not know this. I did not know this. This
You
changes.
didn't know who you thought my favorite wrestler was? Sasha Banks?
Well, I thought you were going to say yourself.
No, my favorite wrestler is Triple H, and I like Triple H because I respect Triple H's in-ring work. I respect Triple H's hustle. I never forget that time that when Triple H came back on Monday Night Raw on New Year's Eve in Madison Square Garden. I remember staying at my grandmother's house and watching wrestling with my friend that used to live upstairs, and Triple H came back. Triple H is the man to me. Like, I love watching Triple H's matches. My favorite match to watch of Triple H is 3 Stages of Hell. Actually, no, my favorite Triple H match is even to watch Triple H versus John Cena at Saudi, when they did that opening match.
Oh,
that was a really good match.
I said that because I was live streaming that. I actually thought that match was much better than I was expected, to tell you the truth. And Double A, you're surprised that he's from the Bronx. Double A, I'm from the Bronx, but, whatever. Yeah, Jason Oliver, and me and him have definitely talked about. Me and Tristan have a lot of things in common. And as you also mentioned earlier, White Castle, one of our things is we go to White Castle like a lot. Probably more than we should.
We do. Like, I'll never have abs because of hanging out with Dave. I just want to say I'll never have abs.
Oh, it's my fault now.
Yes, it's your fault. You take me to Halal Guys. You take me to White Castle. I'm not complaining.
That I forced you to eat it? You could have gotten the salad. You could have gotten, like a couple of...
What am I, a rabbit? Why would I want to eat salad?
I'm just saying.
I know Easter's coming, but am I a rabbit?
I didn't put a gun to your head. I'm just saying you could have.
Right, but if you give me the opportunity, hey, well, you're going to eat a White Castle burger, or you're going to eat a salad. I don't think anybody but a rabbit would choose the salad. So I'm going to choose the White Castle.
You might want to feed the salad to the rabbit, then eat the rabbit. No Haas and pepper for you? No Haas and pepper guy?
No, I don't eat rabbit. I'll eat chicken, I eat beef, I eat a little bit of pork, and some pieces of fish. That's it. No rabbit.
I will also point this out that, when we go to White Castle, I'm a very straightforward dude. I just get the number one. I just want the burgers, fries, and soda. Where Tristan will find things on a White Castle menu I didn't know existed. I know more about what White Castle has because of Tristan. I would never know that if it wasn't for him.
One of my favorite things to get is seasonally, and I mean, Dave, but talking to everybody else out there, one of my favorite things to get is White Castle does a seasonal thing. So doing Thanksgiving, they have a little turkey burger patty that they have with, oh golly, it's like Thanksgiving dinner on a White Castle bun. And they also do Sloppy Joes. Golly, Sloppy Joes were good. And if you go a certain time of year, everybody in the Dave knows everything world, you can get a coupon and you can get discounts on White Castle. Boom, life hack.
Yes, raw reflex, that is true. They do have a cheesecake on a stick as well. That one I knew. You don't have White Castle.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, you're not, but if it's on, is it safe to say you've tried everything on the White Castle menu?
Let's see, I love all the breakfast sandwiches. Oh my God, the waffle sandwich, bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, you messed those up pretty good. I will attest to that.
Yes. And then the breakfast sandwiches, or you can get the egg and cheese on a White Castle burger. Obviously the cheese sliders and the regular sliders. I've had the onion rings on a sandwich. That's all right. I remember when I first came back to New York, Dave, I met with my friend Greg, and he said, hey man, I know you don't have White Castle in Florida, so let's go to White Castle. So what we did? We ordered one of everything. The bill was like $50.
It's about right. I didn't know they don't have White Castle in Florida. Interesting thing. The person who did...
Yeah, so there's almost like an imaginary Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
When it comes to White Castle, and there's also another restaurant called Crystal's. Crystal's is actually very similar to White Castle, but I prefer White Castle more because they have a much better burger, and their burgers are square. In the South, you can get Crystal's, but up north you can get White Castle.
Gotcha.
But in the South, you can get White Castle only in the freezer aisle. But Dave, let me give you some trivia and trivia for your watchers as well too. What's the difference between White Castle in the freezer aisle versus the White Castle you can get in the restaurant?
They're frozen?
Besides the fact that they're frozen, Dave.
What? You're wording this like a punchline for a dad joke. I don't know. What? They're not... I had never gotten them from the freezer. Why? What's a...
Okay, so if you get a White Castle burger from the frozen section of the supermarket, they don't have pickles on them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, because they feel that the pickles won't hold well when you reheat them, and they might make the sandwich soggy.
That sucks.
Yeah, so now you know. So if you go get a White Castle burger from the frozen section, it may not be the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing. Just go ahead and grab yourself a jar of pickles on the way out of the supermarket, and you'll be all right. And don't forget, Big Daddy Tris told you that.
Hashtag not sponsored. Let's make that clear right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're not. No, not sponsored. No.
No, when it comes to junk food, I will say you are definitely one of the junk food kings of the world. You know that, right?
You know what's funny? For me, I like food. It's not a secret. I like food. You know, like mentally, I should be like 350 pounds. I should be 500 pounds. That's what I should be.
And you blame me
but
for
I'm
that.
not.
I know.
Well, I'm blaming you for part of that, Dave. But for me, when I go visit my sister that lives in Canada, there's this restaurant called Hamburger. You know what they sell at Hamburger, Dave?
Hamburger?
Great. Hamburgers. You're a smart guy. So I don't go there for the hamburgers. You can get a popcorn that they fry like in bacon fat, and they chop little pieces of bacon in it. My mouth's watering. And then they season it with like oh my God. When I went to SummerSlam, I had to get me a little bag of popcorn and these little duck wings. And then they also have this restaurant called Pizza, and they sell this thing called the panuki. I don't know what the word is. I think it's called the pazul, whatever it is. But it's like the papadilla. Papadilla? Whatever it is, Papa John's has it. The little fold over little pizza thing.
You sound like you're reading from a Dr. Seuss book and just making words up at this point.
I mean, if you don't know the word, make it up.
Okay, fine. You win.
So I get but pizza. If you ever go to Canada, make sure you get the palooks. It's like a little fold over thing, and it has like cheese in it, and it has like pepperonis in it. Golly, my mouth is watering. Man, you better have some milk left in my cup.
Wow, now there's a Mark cup if I ever saw one.
Somebody said Mark?
Yeah, you got to you got to turn the logo towards the camera. You got to really mark it out. Yeah,
it's not sponsored. Oh wait, let me turn it the right way.
Oh wait, it's a 3D cup too.
It's not 3D. What person is a 3D cup? Only a Mark.
It's not moving?
Alright, fine, it has a hologram on it. So these were the cups that I got when I went to WrestleMania 35 in MetLife in New Jersey. And this cup here, I don't know how much it costs, but based on the section that we sat, we got free refills all night in this cup.
Oh, so you bought it because you were Mark. They got you is what happened.
No, I got it because I was thirsty. I know what a Mark.
You got work, is what you're saying.
No, they got work. Let me tell you, Dave, since we're on the topic of food, there's the thing. There's one thing that I try not to do. I don't like going to all you can eats. And when I was younger, because I don't drink that much now these days, when I was younger, I don't like going to all you can drink. Do you know why?
Why?
Because when I go to an all you can eat or an all you can drink, I take it as a challenge. Like I feel like, I'm going to put these people out of business.
I do the
So
same
I went to a cruise about a year ago. A year ago? Yeah, I think it was about a year ago for my mother's 60th birthday celebration. She wanted to go to a cruise. Like my mother, her old age, I hope she's not watching. She's not old. She's a spring chicken. But if she can live on a cruise ship, I think my mother would. But I went on a cruise ship. My mother sold me by saying, because I didn't want to go on a cruise. My mother sold me by saying, you can eat all day and all night. I said, so what do you mean? She goes, you can eat all day and all night. I said, so what do you mean? She goes, you can eat at 2 o'clock in the morning. Just call the kitchen and they'll make you something. So I was on a mission, Dave, when I went on that Carnival cruise ship. I was going to eat these people at a house and home. But it was a boat. So I was going to eat these people at a boat and cruise ship. That was my plan.
It's funny you mention it because I think there are people who are living on a cruise ship right now. But whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, nice timing on that story. But anyway, so you see, you got a lot of people. Hey, Arthur Pryor, how you doing? Now, Tristan, I'm going to warn you right now. This fool, Arthur Pryor, he's a bit of a troll. So just understand that if he says something or he's saying that you said something but he's completely wrong, just realize he can't pay attention or focus very long. He's distracted very easily by bright shining lights or squirrels with really bushy tails. So, don't really pay him no mind. So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Arthur Pryor is a bit of the bulb is a little dim. So I'm going to throw that out there right now. Just give me a warning.
Well, thanks for letting me know.
No problem. I went on all-you-can-eat prime rib. Oh man, there used to be a restaurant that I knew where they did all-you-can-eat Wednesday prime rib, and oh man, it was a beautiful thing. It's shut down now, I guess. I guess my mission, because I'm like you, I want to put these people out of business. Apparently, I succeeded.
Right.
Yeah.
My man. Hey, actually, you know what? If you want to say that, I can say there used to be a place called Fire and Ice in the Palisades Mall in New York, and I remember going to that place. Because it was like a Mongolian restaurant where you go and you pick your meats and they put it on the grill and they cook it. So like I'd go there and get like, let me get a raw meat patty, like a ground beef. I'd bring an egg, I'd get some bacon, I get some cheese, I get some rolls, I get a piece of chicken breast, and I go, make me a sandwich, please, because you always got to use manners. So they make me a sandwich. So me and my friend Greg, we would go there and we would sit there and try to, look, I'm trying to put these people out of business. So I succeeded. They're no longer in business.
Right. There you go. So me and you have shut the place down. Okay, Dave, if I ever come to New York, you got to tell me where to go to eat. So many places, Double A. And Double A.
Where in New York? Where in New York does he want to go? Because I know places.
Well, Double A is actually from England, and he's been talking lately. He's a young man. He designed a banner for my channel. Both channels actually. So he's a very, very, very talented young man. But would like to come to New York one time. He's also a big Jackie Chan fan. He loves the movie Rumble in the Bronx. I'm going to warn you right now. Rumble in the Bronx, the film was filmed in Toronto. Vancouver. I'm sorry, was filmed in Vancouver. So it doesn't look like that in any way, shape, or form.
They only use B-roll footage for the Bronx. Oh, I was sad when I found that out as well.
Terms. Look at you. See, working the terms again. You slipped right into it.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
So what was his name?
Double A.
Double A. When you come to New York, you need to get pizza, but you just can't get pizza from anywhere. Do not go to the Hut of Pizza, and do not go to Domino's, and do not go to Papa John's or Little Caesars.
One of the weirdest things I find is on all the Ninja Turtle movies, they always live in New York, but they're always going to like Pizza Hut or Domino's or whatever. You ever notice that?
Yes. So Double A, where you need to go, you can find like a $2 pizza spot. My God, you want your life changed?
Bleecker Street
$2 pizza spot in Manhattan.
Bleecker Street Pizza, that's where I'm going at. I know if Steve was around, he would be screaming at me about it's Brooklyn Pizza. If the answer is Bleecker Street Pizza, that's the answer. I'm telling you right now. And the grandma slice, and you have a very short window with Bleecker Street Pizza's grandma slice. It's going to come out of the oven screaming hot. You don't want to eat it then. But you don't want to let it cool down too much. It tastes perfect when it's just hot enough to eat. That, it's like too hot. The second it cools down, that's when you want to eat it. That's the perfect time. But Bleecker Street Pizza, as I said, me and Steve would have words. And we were just in Brooklyn having pizza too. And that's the other thing. Not knocking Brooklyn Pizza. I'm not that. I'm just saying.
I just think pizza period is good in New York. I've had pizza when I lived in Florida, and pizza was like meh. But like just walk into a shop, and it's like, the best way to put it, Double A, is that when you go to New York and you're looking for pizza, it's like going to the Pound and picking out a pet. That's exactly what it's like. I want that one right there.
Oh, hold up, and thank you, Double A. But we got to point something out. So hold on. We got Dale, and then we got Rob the Reflex in particular. He's from Chicago, so he's starting. Rod Reflex has been kind enough to have me as a guest on the show, but we started with this argument again. How many times I got to tell you, Rod? that casserole you have is very delicious. I just wish you didn't call it pizza because that's not part of the title. So, Tristan, I mean, look, he's all yours. This is what I'm saying.
All right, so I've never been to Chicago. As the closest I've ever been to Chicago's pizza is Uno's, and Uno's is pretty good. There's also a fun story I can tell you from that as well too. But I don't think Uno's is terrible pizza, but I don't think it's best pizza. There's nothing better than going into a restaurant and saying, give me that one. It's like picking out your lobsters at Red Lobster, and then it's only $2.
Mason, what do you know? You're from Atlanta, man. You're out of this conversation, okay? And nobody says, oh, I want good pizza, I'm going to go to the South. Nobody has ever said that.
But he's from Atlanta. So he has Chick-fil-A and he has Zaxby's. You ever had Zaxby's?
And Coca-Cola. Well, I have that's story. No, I have not. It's a long story, but yeah. Anyway,
you never had Zaxby's?
I went down south last year. I went down south with, I don't know if you remember her. You guys remember? It was a live stream on a Friday. She was in the hotel, Katarina. Yeah, that girl. There's no chance of me getting any. That was the last time I was in the South, and there's no chance of that girl ever touching anything fast food. Like I had, you have a better chance of me and the Pope's wife. So no, I did not. I heard about all these southern chains, but anyway, I don't want to get into it. Point of the matter is, Chicago. I've said this over and over again. I like Chicago pizza. I think it's amazing. It's just not pizza. It's a casserole. I swear, it's like they heard the part pizza pie and really focused too much on the pie part and not enough on the pizza part. That's what I think you guys did. But that's just me. Anyway.
I mean, I still eat it. Like,
eat it, but I do want to talk about this because, Tristan, as we know, you are part of the Royal Ramble radio show, correct?
That is correct, and you can. We're normally live from Thursday night, 7 to 9, at our website, royalrambleradio.com. But because of the uncertain times of uncertainty that we live in, we do produce the show only as a podcast right now. You can find it anywhere you can listen to a podcast. Just search Royal Ramble Radio, or you can go to our website, royalrambleradio.com, and listen to all our previous episodes. Actually, before we go on, Dave, we're actually getting ready, myself and Brian, the other host of the show, we're actually getting ready in a couple hours to do a recording, which will drop live on Saturday. I was wondering if you wanted to be on it.
Oh, sounds like a thrill. I definitely want to be on it. But while we're continuing on the show, so the Royal Ramble Radio Show is a very good show, and I do want to talk about that. Base of 12, it's nothing wrong with the fast food. I'm just saying the girl that I was with is not a fast food person. She didn't have Chick-fil-A once in her life until she was 25, I think. She's very anti-fast food. She's been on the show. She knows, she got a taste for the good stuff, and Anyway, so there was plenty of fast food places that I never went to down the last time I was in the South. Anyway, Base Up Army, who am I to say that Chicago style pizza isn't real pizza? I'm from New York. I win. That's why we run this. Okay, we are the authority for the global pizza committee. That's right. Anyway, so going back to the pizza thing, the reason I brought up the Royal Ramble radio show, not only are you there, but tell me about a recent bet that, I don't know, somebody lost because, and involving pizza on your show. I think the Know-It-All Nation would like to hear about this story.
I don't remember.
Okay, so here's what happened. A little wager was met between Brian and Tristan, and the loser of said bet had to eat a questionable pizza with a topping of, what was it, Tristan? What was it? What was this controversial pizza? What were we talking about?
It's not. I don't think I don't think pineapple pizza is controversial. I just think it's an abomination. I think that it should not be permitted in the. Let me tell you what. The pizza shop that I go to, one of the choices is not. Let me get that pineapple slice right there. That's not one of the options. So Brian said that he can get an X amount of number of Twitter followers, and I said you can't. So what Brian did was Brian begged for all of these followers and got the followers, and I had to eat a pineapple pizza.
Yeah, on air on the show, and it was a humiliating experience and a humbling one. You can never go back, can you? You can never go back, can you?
Hey, I mean, once you go pineapple pizza, you never go back.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's what I say.
Hold
I
on,
don't know
see,
if they said it. Hey, copyrighted.
Hold on, here we go back again. Look, Base Up is now saying that he says you're an abomination because pineapple on pizza is the greatest thing. And so, see, Base Up, you just proven you don't know anything. Yeah, all right, so, I make fun of
his face is an abomination. His taste buds are an abomination. You should not eat pineapple. Well, let me rephrase. You can have a cheese pizza and a pineapple drink in the other hand, but you can't put them together. It's just like an abomination.
Yeah, it's like if you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then stick a piece of tuna fish inside of it, it stops being a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's just how things work.
Right. It's just trash.
Right. I see you thinking about that, though, wondering, wait, would I? I see it running through your mind at least a little bit. I saw you thinking about it. Hey, Brian Schmidt, I know that guy. Brian Schmidt's here.
A little bit. Yeah. Oh, hey, Brian Schmidt. Oh, that's the other host of Royal Rama Radio. So, I mean, everybody will be able to hear his voice. Actually, you can listen on demand. You can hear about our predictions of WrestleMania and all the stuff that we're going to get into that you can hear on Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
Right. Brian, we're just putting you in the show over and talking about how you gave a spanking to Tristan, making him eat pineapple pizza. Hey, look, you lost a bet. Well, take your punishment like a man. And yes, Harry Flynn, I did lose a bet to you. We did a pay-per-view predictions. Harry won. I knew Harry was going to win, too. We picked the same exact results, and I decided to switch my answer for the tag team match just so we can have a decisive winner instead of a tie. And I took the L on that one. And I had to watch 3 Nikki Bella matches of his choosing. And all I will say, though, is I did learn. I had a new respect for her in the Ronda Rousey match. I was like, I respect Nikki's game more than Ronda's in this match. It was an experience. I will say that much. Dave and Tristan, have you ever eaten DC style pizza? I have never been to Washington DC. I've always wanted to go, and I've never been there. Tristan, how about you?
I've been to Washington DC. I have never eaten the pizza there. What have I eaten in Washington DC? I've eaten there's a Mexican place right across the street from the Capitol building. I've been there. But yeah, I mean, I really haven't been many places in Washington, D.C. to eat.
I'm sorry, the chat's cracking me up. And yes, Brian Schmidt says not only did you lose the bet, you also wanted me to point out that you liked it. You liked the pizza.
I mean, when you peel off the pineapples, I mean, that makes everything bearable. It's just the pizza at that point.
You know, what's funny? I have a friend who actually feels this. Not only does he not like pineapple on pizza, he also thinks that chicken has no business on pizza, which I found a pretty surprise. Yeah. Like, he's very staunch about it. Like, he says chicken has no business.
Find a new friend, Dave. Find a new friend.
Now,
any kind of protein belongs on pizza except for anchovies. You know, I've never had fish on pizza. I'm sure there's such thing as a fish. Maybe they make like fried calamari pizza. I don't eat calamari, but that sounds like something.
Well, yes, squid is the most popular, or last I checked, squid is the most popular pizza topping in Japan. And in England, corn is pretty popular in certain parts of England. I'm not going to speak for everybody in England, but I do know that corn is an option for pizza in England, and that is not something you can get in New York. Oh, I got no problem with chicken pizza. I'm just saying I got a friend who has that problem. I don't have a beef with it. No pun intended. Never mind.
Speaking about of local foods, one time I wrestled. Well, it wasn't one time. We used to wrestle for NWA Mountain State in West Virginia. We'd go down there, and the next thing we would leave, we'd eat breakfast at a diner and keep going. So my first trip down there, I went to the diner, and I usually get, when I go to the diner, I'm usually pretty cookie cutter. Let me get the eggs. Let me get no toast. Cheese and maybe like a fruit or something like that. Maybe sometimes, maybe. All right. So when I went down in West Virginia, they said, I said, no potatoes. No potatoes? I said, no, ma'am, no potatoes. And she goes, what would you like instead? I don't know. What can I have? Tomatoes? Tomatoes? Like, what do you do to them? We slice them. Then what do you do to it? I put it on your plate. Okay, I did that. So if you ever go anywhere, you don't want to eat the home fries, ask for sliced tomatoes. I can learn that in West Virginia. Boom.
All right. Base of 12, you're not paying attention. He lost on his own show and had to do that. Now, Brian has been on the show before, for you guys who don't remember. But yeah, Brian and Tristan are on the show, doing their show very coming up. But Tristan, tell them more about the Royal Rumble radio show. Tell them where they can find you, and if they want to hear more about what you got to say.
So Royal Rumble Radio pretty much is between Brian Schmidt, he's the pro wrestling fan, and then you have myself, Tristan Law, the professional wrestler. So pretty much we discuss, dissect, and disagree on the world of pro wrestling, because Brian is just like Brian is just like a supermarket. And, sometimes I try to educate Brian, like, hey, Brian, this is how the business works, and Brian doesn't understand. So Brian wears his fan hat. Like, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to explain to Brian why it was good for business that that Goldberg took the belt off of The Fiend. But Brian wasn't understanding that. But, that's where we discuss, dissect, and disagree on the world of professional wrestling. And our website is RoyalRambleRadio.com, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, you want me to keep going? SoundCloud, and wherever else you can find a podcast. Just search Royal Rumble Radio, and when you get there, subscribe and like, please.
Very good. Yeah. All right, Bally, yeah, he has tried. As he's mentioned, I have taken him to halal, guys. But, okay, so good. Guys, follow Tristan and Brian Schmidt over on the Royal Rumble radio show. Give the show a listen. Give them some support, especially in these trying times. Give all the support you can. And, guys, I'm going to be featured on upcoming episodes. I've been on episodes in the past, so it's a real fun time. As you guys know, I've mentioned Royal Rumble before. This is not the first time. But, Tristan Law, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for being here. And everybody, thank you for joining and being a part of this show as well. And I hope you guys learned something. And it was a lot of fun talking to you. So we'll be in touch. And thank you for being here. And as always, Dave knows.